Hello, everyone. So this is our next part of our story. I know yesterday you guys worked on Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, so hopefully you guys got through that entire story because we are going to be using pieces of that story today, as well as, and this is unusual for us, but I'm adding in a wrinkle in time. So this week you will be reading two stories, and it is because we are going to start working on those compare and contrast skills. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And make sure you're following along in the Nearpod. I will change it as we go. So I'll let you know when to jump in the Nearpod and jump in and put your answers because I do want to do the live participation versus you guys having to do the student pace version. So as always, remember your behavior, respect one another, respect your teachers. Cameras are always welcome to be on. I definitely believe you pay better attention when your cameras are on. Make sure that you stay muted unless you're called, or you have your good raise hand button that you can click to raise a hand. Be prepared to speak and answer questions. One thing I noticed last week is you guys were so quiet, and I understand the students in the classroom. You guys are quiet because you're intimidated that other people around you might hear you. Maybe you might be a little bit of a distraction to them, but we are still learning, and interaction with one another is our best way to keep class entertaining and not boring. So why cameras on? Like I said, love your smiles, better engagement. You learn more, which keeps your grade up. Our standards we are using is citing text evidence and using our inferences, also determining the meanings of words and phrases. So yesterday you guys should have been annotating your vocabulary words from the story Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. And then as we get into, and this will be more Thursday, Friday, we are going to start getting into comparing and contrasting the text. So first things first, let's take that confidence survey. So at this point, we will pause the video and you guys will do your survey. The question for the survey is, how confident are you in explaining to a peer a quick analysis of A Wrinkle in Time and Monsters Are Due on Maple Street? Could you use inferences and text evidence to support your analysis? All right, guys, so on the next slide, we're going to be doing some bell work. So make sure that you are in the Nearpod because it is now time for our bell work question. So today it is a fill in the blanks. It is a reminder of what exactly is our inferences and what do we use to support those. So make sure to do the fill in the blank and turn it in when you're done. All right, so our proficiency standards. Today we are going to be working on the text evidence and inferences. So when you start minimally proficient, so again, over here at this square, you guys are kind of able to take some test evidence and explain. Making that growth to partially proficient, you can identify textual evidence. And then as you become proficient and highly proficient, you go to citing that text evidence to support an analysis of what it says. So using the inferences and then taking the evidence. So maybe saying something like, I know this because of this. So I know that in the story, Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, there are some strange things happening. I know this because the text tells me that cars keep starting by themselves, lights keep turning on and off by themselves, and you would use that text evidence. So story time. What I want us to do is, first things first, you guys should have read Monsters Are Due on Maple Street yesterday. So what is happening on Maple Street? What emotions can we infer the characters are experiencing? And find text evidence to support this question. How are the characters reacting to all the strange events? And what does this tell us about fear? So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys about 10 minutes to sit down, think about these questions, and go back to your story here in Study Sync. So remember, it is this story here. Monsters are due on Maple Street. So make sure to get in there and do the reading and take your notes of these questions and what answers you find. All right, so now let's watch the breakdown. So you guys will watch my screen, and I am going to go ahead and play the Study Sync Kids breakdown of the story. This is going to help tell us, what exactly this story is about. What are they processing? So kind of what you just did. Now you're going to watch an example of a reading group doing the same thing and how they go about doing it. So this is what we need to be mirroring when we read in our class and we have class discussions. A Wrinkle in Time. For those of you that have seen the Disney version of the movie A Wrinkle in Time, it's a pretty interesting story to say the least. But we're going to go ahead now and take the time to go through A Wrinkle in Time, read the story, and think about the answers to these questions. Who are the characters? What is happening in the story? What can we infer the main characters are feeling? And what evidence can you find in the text to support that inference? So let's go ahead, take the time to go through the story. This is a little bit shorter of the story, so it shouldn't take you as long to get through and reading. In class, people, you guys have your headphones so you can play it and do it yourself. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to read the story and write down your answers to the questions. So as the story is going, go ahead and jot your answers down. All right, now we are going to go ahead and go through the Study Sync breakdown. So I want to break down A Wrinkle in Time. So we're going to watch how the students participate in the analysis of A Wrinkle in Time and what is happening. So now I'm going to ask the question, how confident are you in writing a short analysis of either A Wrinkle in Time or The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street? And for your exit ticket question, if your friend was absent from class and you needed to tell them about your analysis on either A Wrinkle in Time or The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street, what would you say? Use 2 to 3 sentences to answer this. So just to recap, guys, when we make our inferences, it's us making that best educated guess. We use the text to help give us clues and hints to make this guess, but then we go in and once we've made our statement, our inference, we go in and we find the text evidence to support that. When you're writing an analysis, you have to have these. So think about this when we're writing papers, and like you guys did last quarter, we wrote the papers and you guys had to find the text evidence to support your thesis statement. So you originally were making an inference and you had to go in and support that with the evidence. This is the same thing. You want it to be in your own words, but then you also want to use the evidence and say, you know this because the text directly states that. So that ends our session for today. Tomorrow we will start with our compare and contrast. Sorry, not tomorrow, either Thursday or Friday, because you guys know I am making this video. So if we didn't get through the lesson all in one day, then we would start this lesson on Friday. But Thursday or Friday, we will begin to compare and contrast A Wrinkle in Time and The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Thanks, guys.